Hello, Victor. How are you? Mr. Miller is here again. Don't forget to subscribe, yeah, to motivate me. If you've not watched the previous video, try and watch it. This is series 8. Okay, this is where we reached the other time. We're trying to find the equation of the tangent that passes through this at a point at x is equal to 2. So to find the equation of the tangent, we need the gradient of the tangent. The gradient, which is m. So to find the gradient, you find the derivative, first derivative of the function. So this is the function. How do you find the first derivative? Is 3 times 2, which is 6. 3 minus 1, which is 2. 1 times 6, which is 6. So the minus 1 minus 1 is 0. X to the power 0 is 1. So 6 times 1 is what? 6. So you have minus 6 here. Then we substitute. You know, this gradient has a variable x. But the x is given here so that we get a value. So if you substitute 2 into it, you have your 6. 2 squared minus 6. This is going to give us 18. So y is equal to mx plus c. Our m is 18. X plus c. We need to find c. Now before we can find c, we need the value of y. So we have to substitute the value of x into f of x. So x is 2. If you substitute, you have 2 exponent 3 minus 6 times 2, which will give you 4. How do we press this on the calculator? Let's get our calculator. Alright, here you are. Okay, so here we have our 2 multiplied by 2 to the power 3 minus 6, 2. And this is going to give us 4. So our point 2, 4, x is 2, y is 4. We are going to substitute it into this equation to get our c. So our y is 4 equals to 18. Our x is 2 plus c. This, if you simplify this, we are going to get minus 32. How did we get that? 18 times 2 is giving us 36. Then we subtract. So it's going to be 4 minus 36. So 4 minus 36, which is minus 32. So we have our c to be minus 32. So what is going to be our equation of the tangent? Equation of the tangent is going to be y is equal to 18x plus c. Our c is minus 32, so plus minus 32. Plus minus is what? Minus. So we are going to get 18x minus 32. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the standard form of cubic graph. Standard form for cubic graph. This is the standard for a cubic graph. Alright. Now, if a is greater than 0, that means if a is positive, we say the graph is increasing. If a is positive, we say the graph is what? Increasing. Then if a is less than 0, if a is a negative number, we say the graph is decreasing. So here Increasing graph moves this way, decreasing graph moves this way. Then D is the y-intercept. Okay. Now, our turning point form of a cubic graph. If you have the graph written this way, y is equal to a into bracket x minus p exponent 3 plus q. If a is greater than 0, I've already said it, it's an increasing function. If a is less than 0, it's a decreasing function. If p is greater than 0, you shift the graph to the right. So if p is positive, it means you have shifted it to the right. If p is negative, you have shifted it to the left. Okay. Now q is greater than 0, you shift the graph up. It means if q is positive, you shift the graph up. If q is negative, you shift the graph down. Okay, now let's look at setting of the graph. Now we have this function. We want the y-intercept. For y-intercept, x is supposed to be equal to 0. If x is equal to 0, this will be 0, this will be 0, and this will also be 0, because if I substitute 0 here, I'm going to have negative into bracket 0 cubed to be 0, 0, 0. So this becomes the y-intercept. There's no need for us to even calculate. You can find it here. So the 2 becomes the y value of the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, 2. Then for x-intercept, y is supposed to be 0. So you substitute y to be 0. We are going to have this function. Then we need a value of x. So you look for a value that can be a factor. So you substitute a value into it. If it gives you 0, it means 1 is a factor. For instance, if I substitute 1 into this one, I'm going to get this and that and that, and everything gives me 0. So 1 is a factor. I'm going to show you a trick. The trick is, if you add the coefficient of all these variables and you get 0, it means 1 is a solution. Alright, it means x minus 1 is a factor. So like here, without even substituting 1 into it, the trick is add the coefficient. So the coefficient of this is -1, -2, +1, +2. Now I get 0. So it means 1 is a solution. One of the solutions for this one is 1. So here x is equal to 1 is a solution. So if I transpose it, I'm going to get x minus 1. So this x minus 1 is a factor now. Okay. Now we need to get the rest of the solution. So here we are going to factorize. How are you going to do that? Okay. I'm going to show you one. We know x minus 1 is a factor. We need to get the rest of the factors. One way of doing this is using a synthetic method to get this value, which I'm going to show you. Alright.